Hello everybody, I hope you're doing really well today. So we're looking at another argument for the existence of God today, and this one's going to be the moral argument. It takes the form of a deductive argument, like the cosmological argument that you'll recall from last week has premises which lead to a conclusion. So the moral argument goes something like this. If there were no God, there would be no objective morality. There is objective morality. Therefore, there is a God. Now, people may take issue with both of those premises. That it's a valid argument if you accept the premises that if there is objective reality and can't have objective reality without God, then God must exist. But I can understand that some people might say, well, there isn't any objective morality, and other people might say, well, we don't need God for objective morality. So let's just have a think about each of those two premises that are used in the moral argument. Is there objective morality? Or do objective things exist at all? For example, does truth exist outside of ourselves and our own circumstances? Is it like the Black Widow says in Captain America the Winter Soldier, truth is relative, it's not all things to all people all the time? Or are the truths that are out there waiting to be discovered and are there regardless of anyone knowing them or not? Well, what about gravity? Gravity was true before Newton thought about it. Gravity was true before anyone thought about whether we are being attracted to the Earth. It just is. It's an objective truth, regardless of whether anyone believes it or knows about it or understands it. Before Isaac Newton had his revelation under the apple tree, people weren't floating off into the distance because they didn't know about gravity. It was true regardless of their knowledge or understanding of it. What about maths? Would 2 plus 2 equal 5 if nobody knew that 2 plus 2 equals 4? Probably not. Maths is another example of something that is true regardless of whether anyone knows it or not. So, what about morality? Does morality fall into this category or not? Well, some people would say that because morality appears different in different cultures, then it doesn't come into this category. For example, in some cultures, then it might be okay for you to commit acts of genocide. The Nazis are always a handy illustration of this. If the Nazis had won World War II, would we all presume that it was okay to slaughter Jews and gypsies and homosexuals and disabled people and whoever else the Nazi Party didn't particularly like? I don't think it would be. I think that deep down we all know that genocide is wrong. And the thing is, even if different cultures say that it's okay, for example, to exterminate Jews, gypsies, homosexuals, disabled, etc., etc., they still won't think it's okay to slaughter themselves en masse. See, they may set the terms differently, but they will still feel that mass murder is not right. And in fact, the Nazis didn't think of the extermination of those groups as murder because they labelled those groups as being subhuman. It would be wrong to kill all those humans en masse, but it's okay to kill people that aren't actually human. And the same with the slave trade. People weren't thinking of, for example, black Africans as slaves, as people, when they were being shipped across the Atlantic to the United States and the Caribbean islands, they were subhuman, so it was okay to enslave them. And that kind of leads us nicely onto whether we need God for morality. You see, it it's okay to say that you have your morality and I'll have mine. What happens if those two moralities clash? See, if I am a Jew or Gypsy and the Nazi Party say that it's perfectly okay to kill me, I might have other ideas about that. I might think that it's actually not a good idea to kill me. Likewise, if I were a black African in the 1700s, I would probably think that it was not okay to enslave me and carry me thousands of miles from my home. So, what happens if your personal morality clashes with my personal morality? What's the adjudicating verdict? Who says which morality is correct? You could say, well, culture. Culture dictates in different times, then different things have been moral. But again, you get different cultures even within a society. Take Britain, for example. You've got well, the Christian subculture of society, which says that, for example, evangelical Christians would say that homosexual acts are wrong, but there are other parts, even calling themselves Christians, who would say no, that's absolutely fine. Who adjudicates there? Even if subcultures within a culture can't agree with what is right, do we just say, well, the majority verdict wins the day? Or doesn't that mean that whoever has more people is automatically right? And doesn't that take us back to the Nazi Party and the suggestion that actually, if you've got enough Nazis in the country, then slaughtering people is fine? It doesn't work. You see, we need something that is beyond ourselves, beyond our cultures, beyond society, that actually determines what is right and what is wrong. We can't just pretend that something within the system has the ability to say this is right and this is wrong. We need God in order to say yes, no. Without that, then what is to say that one thing is better than another? What is there to say, to borrow from an old Eddie Izzard sketch, that cake is any better than death? We need God for morality. Morality does exist objectively outside of ourselves and outside of culture. And so the moral argument, I think, holds considerable sway when we dig into it. That if there were no God, there would not be any objective morality. That there is objective morality, and therefore God exists. On Sunday, we'll be pulling some of these threads together a little bit and seeing what we can make out of them. Until then, I hope you have a good day and take care. God bless.